Good morning, peoples. Let's jump in here for Misty. So, what did Ms. Misty do yesterday? Well, she was down, 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 down. Not as much as MSTR. Okay, MSTR went from 135.38 to 130.37, so it was down 3.7%. And Ms. Misty went down 2360 to 2304. So 2/3 went down 2.37. So we are not capped. We were running up near the 141. So what happened with Misty? Well, they bought in 175,000 worth of shares. It went from 17,950 to 18,125. So that gave us some more cash, and they put that cash to work on their new, which I'm really happy about the new one. I don't like the strike price they chose. This isn't massive quantity, so let me show it to you, right? They went out and they wrote a traditional buy call and sell short put on the new 139 that they had rolled to. So cool. I like it. They're not that far. They were closer when they were 135. They're a little further now at 130, but they were able to only spend 16 because they're underneath it, right? They're out of the money, and they were able to sell the put for more because of being underneath the strike price. So I like that part. So that's positive money, but not so positive that it's going to take them a month to get there, right? They got a 2-month window here all the way out to 10/18, right? And then by matching that share count, or sorry, contract count, they did 630 contracts. Here's what I didn't like. Okay, yeah, they went back to 130, so it's a 140, right? From where they are, $10. But guys, that's 7 trading days in crypto. They could be there this Friday. I mean, yesterday I was worried about the 141. And I'm not just a worrywart, right? I mean, it's crypto. Now, in some fairness, here we are at, in the morning. Let's see what we got here. We have crypto is telling me that MSTR is down. Surprising. I had looked at this a while ago, but just 20 or 30 minutes ago. So the markets are up. We're up 13 points on the S&P. Uh, boy, Ulti, yeah, that's because of the ex-dividend date today, and so Ulti's down. But gold is up, but don't even get me started on that. They just so poorly mishandled GDX. I'm not even putting out a report on it because we're 37 and a half and the strike is 36 and 36 and a half. So I warned that would just run by it. It's exactly what it did. So just frustrates me. All right, but on to goodness. Okay. So right now I'm seeing 130 by 130.10. So just a little bit down from 130.37, but I see the markets and in general things moving up through the rest of August. And I say that, and that worries me about the 140 with 7 trading days. But it is a very small quantity in fairness to them. It's not like they rolled. If we get up here to 139 or 140 by Friday, then they better roll like a 155 or do something out there. And I kind of like this right now that it's Thursday, but I'll tell you something else. If they get to 90%, and I'll get into that in a minute, take it off the board on Thursday. Don't risk, because it's nothing for this thing to move up 10 points in a day. It really isn't. Okay, so continuing on that theme, they wrote an 823, hence the color code difference. Let's go look at that synthetic to see what it yielded us. Not much, but we had 238 to the positive, and so we added another 450. See the difference between, we collected 1.46 million, 1,461,000 on the put, and we had to spend 1,011,000. So that's 450,000 added. So that gives us for August on this new one 688,000. Not much in the scheme of things, but money in the bank is better than no money in the bank. All right. So that's the synthetic. And then this is the call. Let's go over and see how things look on the weekly. So, and by the way, this is, I wrote a 141 here. It's a 140. Okay. So see what I'm saying? We got, in a day and a half, we got 8.15 from where we're at, but for 7 trading days. But again, it is a small quantity. I'll give them some, but it just surprised me that they wrote that. Not a big deal. They got $3. Okay. So let's continue. Nothing to see there other than this. This just tells us what we knew, we were down. Okay. And that's about where we are. As I said, 130.01 by 130.40 in, an hour and a half or so before the markets open. Okay, so crypto is not up. Most other things are up that I'm seeing. Um, Oil is up. What else, John? Natural gas is up. You can tell where my head's at on some of those things. Okay, so let's do holdings. Always tells us a lot. Now, when you move down $5, what happens to the synthetic? They go down, right? But look at our weekly. We're much better. Yesterday we were like 15, 18% capture. They've captured 84.28. So I'm telling these fund managers that at the open, if we stay in this 30 range, this should be 90 to 91%. I would take it off the table. If you get this down to 1 million, you got 9/10. Why risk it? And they could risk it and not run by it. I'm not saying it's absolutely going to run by it. I just, if it did and it turned around and they lost half of the 10 million, then wouldn't that show you that it's not good risk management? So, because I've just seen it too many times. All right, I'm not going to belabor that. So, our 20 million, let's look at that in perspective. We were only 4.1 yesterday. So, going down is what kills the synthetic. Going up is always a good synthetic, but guess what? When you go up too much, what happens? Possibly you get capped, and if you run by it very far, it starts taking all your synthetic gains away. So it's back to, what is an income fund? It's something that needs to thread a needle. They didn't put that in the prospectus. Maybe I should ask them to say, must thread the needle for optimum performance. All right, guys, that's my little rant. Baby rant today. So, what is fair value? 2308. Guys, we're selling for a 4 cent discount. Get some Misty. Here's your 175,000 shares, less than 1%. All right, let's go over and look. Although there's not much to see, but I'll point out. So, you wouldn't know it necessarily, but this did gain, the 450,000. This was up at 47,800 and something. And this little guy gained, what did they gain? They gained this 189,000 on that call for next week. All right, guys. So, Misty has got her work cut out for her. Nothing that I don't think she can handle. Although I still am of the opinion, mark my words, that September is going to show us a lot. And if I had to pick a direction, it's absolutely down. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I think happens in September. So let me just say it, okay, and get that out of the way. But I am optimistic through August here. So let's see. If it turns around and August goes down, then September may well be up for us. All right, guys. So I'm optimistic. I mean, Misty's just proven itself over and over and over again, although it has a short history. Coney's the one that's in danger of ruining its 11-month reputation, right? Every time it's gone to 17, high 16, it roared back and went to 30. I mean, if you ask me, will it ultimately go there? Yeah, but maybe it's got 12 in the cards next month or something. I hope not, guys. Because if it does, then Misty's going to struggle as well. All right, that's what I got for you. There's a new fund today. I may put out something on it. Uh, QQQY or YQQQ. I forget the order of the letters, probably Y at the end, Q, but that may have been taken. So I'll put out something on that. That's an inverse triple Qs, right? So think dips, think fiat, um, think crash, but think index, right? And actually, I think it's timely because that may make some money in September with what I think might happen. Now, keep in mind, guys, any of these funds can get capped. Even a triple Q's inverse can get capped. So it's not always full protection. If you're trying to balance the upside, it can work for that, right? Dips, NVIDIA, fiat coin, one can play off the other some, but don't think it's just, if I wanted to protect myself on the Qs, I'd go out and get a 1x or a 2x bear fund that didn't play the income game and simply did that. But I realized that that's not all the intents and purposes. People feel better. But you know what? And this has come out. I talked about it in my interview um, with the CEO and CIO of Defiance, Cynthia and Sylvia, sorry. And in that scenario, she talked about her days at Drexion. That's where she spent her time, and her boss, the chairman of the board at Defiance, they both came from there. He actually worked for her, I think, but went out and wanted to start something and brought her there. But she was talking about her history because I used to use Drexions without even knowing the fund family back in the 2000 era when the precious metals and metals themselves were running. After the dot-com crash, they took off that decade and did a 4x on the SPX and everything else. That was the place to be. It was commodities, oil, metals. And she was talking about how in general, when they had an inverse fund, people didn't like to buy them typically. And you're kind of seeing the same thing. Crash, I think a little less after we've had some of that scare on October 5 and early October 6 before it reversed. But in general, people don't like to think like that. But I don't think just blocking out something negative is enough to make it go away. I wish it was. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Have a great one. Bye for now.